guys, this is Chelsea. Thank you for coming to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about why I stopped smoking MJ. I'm going to talk about why I started, how it changed me, why I decided to stop, and what helped me to stop. So first, let's get into why I started in the first place. I live in Colorado, and here it's legal, and it's very much a part of the culture. And I started because it really helped me in the beginning. It helped me to be a lot less judgmental about myself. It helped me be more at ease. And at that point in my life, I had a safe home and I had a job and everything, but I wasn't going for my goals. And I honestly didn't really have anything going for myself, and I knew that. And so smoking was a distraction from that. It also made me feel a lot more happy, and I thought it made me more interesting, and I thought it made me funnier and just easier to be around, but that's not really true. It didn't really enhance my personality at all. I just thought it did, which is fine, that's what I needed at the time. I'm not gonna judge myself for that. Okay, we'll get to how it changed me. So the biggest thing was my binge eating. I didn't really have a problem with this before, but when I started, it really affected me. You get the munchies and you don't really reach for healthy food, do you? You reach for chips and candy and stuff. And that really affected my skin, and it affected just me feeling really groggy every day, and it didn't really enhance my life at all. When I started binge eating, it just took me to a whole new place. And also, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but when you are partaking in MJ, your brain doesn't really go into the REM state, so you're not going into that deep sleep cycle, so you don't really have dreams. Which I missed. I missed having dreams. I missed going to sleep and having that really deep sleep and waking up and feeling refreshed. But it took me a while to realize why I wasn't feeling that way and why I wasn't experiencing that. So after that point, more things started to click in for me, Also, just a side note, I'm not going to talk about if it's addictive or not. I don't know the research on that, so we're just going to leave that there. I also noticed that I was doing it out of habit and not because I actually wanted to partake in it. I did it when I was happy. I did it when I was sad. I just did it as a regulator for myself, and I was just kind of running away from all of my emotions, the good and the bad. And it also made me more anxious. I had parameters for myself. I wouldn't do it past 8 o'clock, for example. And so I would come home from work and rush to do it so that I would get it out of the way. But then the next day I would wake up and I found myself really groggy, and I found myself being sort of self-deprecating and just getting into a really low vibrational state. And I kind of felt like I had a little bit of a layover the next day, and it really that didn't really happen though until the last year or two, and I started noticing these differences. And we'll get into why I decided to stop. I looked around at my life and I realized that I wasn't going for my goals. I was stuck. I wasn't going for anything, and that piece really kept me tied to my old self. And I don't want to put everything on MJ, it's not the linchpin or anything like that, but it really did affect my life and how I looked at myself, and I wasn't moving forward. So I knew that it was now or never. I had to ask myself if this was a habit that I would want to have the rest of my life, and I knew the answer to that was no. And so I was okay, well, no one's gonna tell me to stop. I have to decide that for myself, I can't look around waiting for someone to tell me that this is the end, I have to stop at this point. So I had to make that decision for myself, which was hard, but it was also kind of easy because it was obvious, I couldn't really ignore it anymore. It's kind of when something comes to light, and the truth comes to light, there's not really any going back at that point. You have to do something about it, or you leave it alone. And I decided to stop, and here's what helped me to stop, actually. Therapy, really. And I know that that's a blanketed thing, and I know that not everyone can afford therapy, but I was blessed enough to have my family help me pay for my sessions, and I also found a Black therapy collective that helps Black people pay for therapy, and so that was really helpful. They gave me vouchers, and I was able to continue my mental health journey. So I asked my therapist to help me put other things in place so that MJ wasn't the only thing that I went to. It wasn't like my end all be all. You know, I knew I needed to have other things in place. Because before, when I tried to stop, it didn't work, you know, like I'd be like, oh, I'll just do it on the weekends. But eventually that leads to the next weekend, that leads to Monday, Tuesday, you know, so like it's just like a strand of just choices I was making at that point. And it's understandable though, because like if you are trying to stop something, but you have nothing else, you know, you just like fall back into your old patterns. So I found myself journaling a lot more. I found myself reading. Reading was really helpful. And also, like, I found adult coloring to be helpful. I had to get back into the gym. Like, I had to keep myself out of the house so that I wasn't here bored, you know. I feel like it's very easy to make those excuses, you know, when you're at home bored. It's like, oh, it's a snowy day. It's gloomy. Oh, let me just, like, puff and like watch a movie, you know. And I knew that I had to keep myself busy so that I wouldn't fall back into those things. And I also told myself like, oh, I don't do anything else bad for myself, you know, like I don't like alcohol, for example. Like I don't engage in other vices that people have besides sugar. That's a big thing for me. But I was like making up these things for myself for MJ to be more acceptable for me. And I'm not blaming myself. I'm not judging myself. I'm just telling you how it is, you know. But I'm actually really happy with where I am. I haven't engaged in a few weeks, and I know that's not a long time, but that's a long time for me, and I'm going to choose to be proud of that. I have to keep asking myself every day, what is the alternative? You know, like if I engage with it today, I will continue to be stuck. And that's not a choice that I can keep ignoring. That's not something that I can keep brushing off anymore, you know, because there's a lot in this life that I want to give to myself, and I want to be present for those things, you know, like when I look back on my life, I want to know that I was here for it. I want to know that I was present for all of the joys, for all of the pain, for all the decisions I made. I want to know that I was here for the life that I'm living. Yeah, I just want to be here. I just want to be here. And also, like, I found that I was actually running away from joy too, you know, because MJ definitely gives you like a little bit, you know, and that lasts for me like maybe an hour or two, but that's not sustainable for me. I want a joy that I am cultivating myself from within, and it's not coming from an outside source. I just want that for myself, you know? And again, no judgment. And this is just my story, you know? Like, I know that a lot of artists and creatives find it to be very helpful for their creative process, and I'm happy for them that they found that, you know, but that's just not my story. I just wanted to remind you guys that any decision that you make for yourself has to come from you. It has to come from yourself. It can't come from anyone outside, because that doesn't last long. You know, like I know there's like interventions and stuff like that for people who are going through these things, but it has to be from a desire within you. Like I even went to MA, which I did not know existed until this past year, but those resources are available to you. And also like expanding your circle is really helpful. Like I had to ask my family to not offer me any. I have to, like I said, keep reminding myself every day what the alternative is if I do it. And yeah, I hope this is helpful for someone. Thank you so much for watching and listening to my story, and for giving me the space to express myself. And have a good rest of your week, and I will see you guys next Sunday. Bye.